Hi, this is Lewis Harrison, and this is a broadcast that's part of my series about Taoism, Lao Tzu, and the Tao Te Ching. Taoism comes in many, many forms, and unlike Judaism or Christianity or Buddhism, it's very hard to nail what Taoism is. There's no concept of God in it. It is a formal religion in China, with all the negative crap that comes with formal religions, rites, rituals, ceremonies, temples, priests, donate money, all that kind of thing. But Taoism, in its purest sense, is really based on two books. One is called the Tao Te Ching, the other is called the Xiang Tzu. And the Tao Te Ching is actually a book that I did a translation of. It's 81 paragraphs that explains the philosophy of Taoism in its purest and mystic form, not philosophically, not religiously, but if you're a spiritual seeker or you're someone who has an interest in meditation, it's the purest. And the reason why I say it's the purest is it really has nothing to it except living a life of love, kindness, compassion, empathy, wisdom, goodness, and the appreciation of beauty. And you could talk about gratitude and surrender as well. So the person who wrote this, we don't know if he even existed or not. His name is Lao Tzu. That's Laotzu. It's also pronounced Lao Tse. And Lao Tzu has a myth around him, and the myth is that he was an employee, an archivist for the emperor in that part of China, and he went wandering, and eventually just got tired of stupid people. Excuse my language, people who are intentionally ignorant, who want to struggle, who are attached to anger and lust and greed and vanity and attachment and their ego. He just wanted out. And so what he decided to do was go to this sort of, for lack of a better term, a gated community in ancient China. It was a mountain that was blocked off that people who were wise, sages, if you want to use that term, excuse me, people who were sages and they needed to get away from it all, they would go behind this gated community. And there was a gatekeeper. And so Lao Tzu went up there, and the gatekeeper said, I know who you are. You're a famous guy. Do me a favor. Give me some of your wisdom. And so Lao Tzu wrote 81 paragraphs and gave the guy 81 paragraphs. And those 81 paragraphs are now what we call the Tao Te Ching. So, who was Lao Tzu? Nothing's really known about the guy. He could be a mythological character. He might never have existed at all. But what he did do, theoretically speaking, is he created these 81 paragraphs that are absolute pure wisdom. They're profound, they're subtle, and they have all the lessons you might need to know to have a meaningful, purposeful, content, and happy life. And so there's these 81 paragraphs, and things like still waters run deep, or the idea that if you deal with a problem when it's small before it becomes a big problem, you're never going to have problems in your life at all, or that a person who is wise needs to change how they speak so they communicate more effectively to a common person, somebody who maybe aspires to be wise but just doesn't have the chops or the ability to do that. So if you study the Tao Te Ching and the words of Lao Tzu, you can really have a life that's practical, effective, efficient, precise, productive, accurate, and self-aware. And you can really conquer the things that give people incredible and unnecessary struggle. The anger, lust, greed, vanity, attachment, and ego. I'm going to say that slowly. Anger, lust, greed, vanity, attachment, and ego. The study of the Tao Te Ching, as presented by Lao Tzu, is really quite incredible. So there are about 300 different versions of this book. I did a translation. It took me 40 years. What makes my translation of the Tao Te Ching unique is it's gender neutral, which is very hip now with people who are gender fluid, and they use the word they instead of he or she. Well, Lao Tzu in ancient Mandarin, in which the Tao Te Ching was written, there is no concept of he or she. It's all the Christian missionaries who went and created the he's and the she's and the idea of enlightenment and the word the sage. These are not terms that were used by Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching at all. You're really talking about a person or a teacher in possession of profound wisdom. That's what they got. And that's what a sage is. It's not an enlightened being. It's not somebody who's conquered the world, or they don't want you to worship them. They just live their life clean, well, and with wisdom, and try and give an example so that you can do the same. So that's the essence of what the Tao Te Ching is and who Lao Tzu was. And it's interesting because we don't even know if Lao Tzu ever existed. There are stories about him meeting Confucius on the path and the road. But you have to understand, in terms of history in the West, we're really concerned with accuracy in history, even though history is never really accurate, is it? Because they say history is written by the winners. In the old days, there was a lot of allegory, a lot of metaphor, and whether Lao Tzu really existed or not doesn't matter. It's the message he presented that actually does matter. But for our purposes and our Western minds, we're going to say Lao Tzu was a real person. He really was an archivist with the emperor. He really did attempt to go to live in this gated community in the mountains, and he really did write and give 81 paragraphs of wisdom to the gatekeeper. So I talk about this regularly in this channel. And if you look below, you can subscribe, which I hope you'll do. And also, you can see in the second line, there's a link to the book, The Tao Te Ching, which is my translation. And I hope that you will use that. It's a great translation. Thanks a lot for listening in. Please share this with your friends, and I will talk to you soon.